Okay, gang, really quick before we jump into the video. You may or may not know that I left academia a few years back for broadcasting, but teaching the next generation has and always will be on my heart. I've been broadcasting now through 3 election cycles, and I'm just sick at what the elites have done to our education system. So I decided to step up. My team and I have been working on this for well over a year now. I started a school, and I have absolutely massive plans to take it nationwide. The Worldview Institute of Entrepreneurship and Apprenticeship opens its first location in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on April 9th, and I want to invite you to the ribbon cutting. And I built a whole amazing event around it, so I want you to come and join me at the Kingdom Builders Experience, April 9th through 11th. You'll get an exclusive invite to the school's ribbon cutting. You'll be invited to a special Scotch and Cigars meetup with yours truly. I'll be lecturing at the school, plus we're hosting a Business Makers Summit where education meets opportunity. Now, seats are limited. Click the link below to learn more, and I can't wait to see you there.
Around. Too bad. And we're not going to pull this off. So, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. God bless the state of Wisconsin. God bless America. We will rise again. We'll get up to fight another day. But this wasn't our day. Thank you guys. God bless you.
A huge loss for the GOP in the state of Wisconsin. A loss, and at the same time, a massive, and I do mean massive, win that will have ramifications that go way beyond 2025. That was, of course, Republican candidate Brad Schimmel conceding the race for the state Supreme Court in Wisconsin. I know a lot, I'm sure all of you are pretty upset and disappointed right now, as am I, rightly so. It looked as if we were building up some serious momentum going into that race. And to have it all just fall apart like it did last night is incredibly disheartening for sure. Now, of course, we need to put this all in perspective, and that is why I am your Patriot Professor. The historian Larry Schweikert reminds us that we've had 9 special election races in the last 90 days. 9 special election races since President Trump won on November the 5th, and the GOP has won 6 of those 9. 6 out of 9, exactly like what happened yesterday. We won 2 of the 3 races. And this is key for us as we go into our analysis of what happened yesterday. Gang, we are the A team. We just won the Super Bowl. We're the Super Bowl champs. And we won it with one of the most decisive victories seen in 2 generations. We've amassed a political coalition that is one of the strongest in our nation's history, all right? So that's just an objective fact. We are the Super Bowl champs. And so, yes, today we're licking our wounds after suffering a ridiculous loss in a scrimmage game. But don't lose sight of who we are. We are the Super Bowl champs, and so we're going to need to dust ourselves off and get back into the season here. All right, as you know, there were 3 key races and 1 major ballot initiative yesterday. Let's start with the 2 Florida congressional races. Now, these were the most important in that they directly impacted the slim Republican majority in the House. Both Republicans, Randy Fine and Jimmy Patronis, won by double digits. These seats were, of course, considered safe seats for Republicans. These are seats that were held by Mike Waltz and Matt Gaetz, respectively, and they won them easily, even though the Democrats wasted over $10 million on their campaigns there. So good for them. Now, what was notable here is that the turnout was pathetic. Get this, the turnout was 60% less than the turnout from November, just literally weeks ago. Now, why is that? Well, we've talked about this before, but it's an important dynamic in understanding why the political pendulum swings. And it's called a refractory period. It's a period of time of political inactivity after a big win. Okay, so what scholars and political operatives have noticed is that it is very, very difficult to maintain the level of political enthusiasm needed to win an election after that election. So what tends to follow all the time and energy and money that goes into a massive presidential Super Bowl win, what follows that is a period of basically social exhaustion, where the fervency and the distraction involved in that energy that's needed for a big political win, it just dissipates. It deflates. And the voters behind that energy, as it were, go back to their regularly scheduled lives. Refractory periods are notoriously difficult to overcome. That said, even with just 40% of the vote showing up from 2024, the two Republicans cruised to victory. They crushed it by double digits. So the Florida race has proved that Florida isn't just red. Gang, Florida is freaking ruby red. I mean, keep in mind, Florida was purple just a few years ago. Just a few short. Ron DeSantis back in 2018 barely won. He literally just eked out a win against a literal crack addict. Florida was a 50-50 state just a few years ago. And then the left-UG crisis of 2020 during COVID sent millions upon millions of voters to seek refuge, particularly in Florida, from their blue state tyrants. And they have made it absolutely clear that they intend to never, ever, ever allow another Democrat administration to come anywhere near where they live. All right, so Florida is clearly a deep red state that was reinforced yesterday without a doubt. But we learned the exact opposite when it comes to Wisconsin. Unfortunately, a number of those left UGs, those Republican left UGs who relocated during COVID, came from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I believe, is on course to lose upwards of 2 electoral votes in 2030, along with Minnesota. So these were states that just saw a number of left UGs leave, and that has made it harder for Republicans to win the state, particularly when President Trump is not on the ballot. And we saw that, unfortunately, once again yesterday when all is said and done. The GOP simply didn't come out to vote. Bottom line, they just didn't come out. The GOP, or what's left of the Wisconsin GOP, did not come out to vote. And independents at the same time swung way to the left. They swung left overwhelmingly. It looked like there was an early vote surge for Schimmel, the Republican, but it's hard to gauge because Wisconsin does not report partisan returns like Florida does. In Florida, we know exactly how many Republicans are voting, and we know exactly how many Democrats and independents are voting. Wisconsin just tells you what counties the mail-in ballots and in-person early voting are coming from. And there's nothing to say whether the surge in red counties is coming from their Democrat voters who live in those counties. And that appears to be exactly what happened yesterday. So it's very hard to gauge Wisconsin. And it turns out that independents and Democrats came out in droves, largely voted together. All the while, rural Republican voters more or less tuned out. Now, before we analyze why, we do have some very big news that came out of Wisconsin last night. And even Elon Musk is saying that this was the most important vote of them all. But first, speaking of the most important, as you know, we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our number one priority. Let's be honest, we're not getting any younger. And if you want to look and feel your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements designed to help with your every health goal, whether it's boosting your energy or trimming belly fat or supporting healthy blood sugar or pumping your testosterone up or even reducing swelling in your legs. Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the good old USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. All you have to do is go to purehealthresearch.com and then use coupon code Turley at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there is zero risk in trying something new. So why wait? Head on over to purehealthresearch.com right now, explore their 45 amazing supplements, and save 35% off before this deal ends with coupon code Turley. Don't miss this chance to feel your best. The big news of the day, the buried lead from yesterday, is that Wisconsin Question 1, which adds a voter ID requirement to the state's constitution, passed. And voter ID didn't just pass, gang, it overwhelmingly won with 60% of the vote. Now, I've said this repeatedly. All you got to do is get voter ID on the ballot. That's all you got to do. And the popularity of the issue will take care of itself. Poll after poll, survey after survey shows that voter ID is one of the single most popular issues among voters in both parties. It gets anywhere from 60 to 80% support. It's the very definition of a pre-political issue in that its support transcends partisan affiliation. We saw that play out in real time yesterday in Wisconsin. And Elon said it best. Elon, of course, was all in with Brad Schimmel, but he did tweet out this morning that Question 1, voter ID being enshrined in Wisconsin constitutional law, was indeed the most important thing. If you remember, Kamala Harris won every single state that does not require voter ID. There is a direct correlation between no voter ID requirements and Democrats winning. And so this was a long-term victory for the Republicans for sure. The Democrats are going to rue the day when Wisconsin officially and overwhelmingly enshrined voter ID in their constitution. That said, it does look like Republicans, without President Trump on the ticket, they are going to have an uphill battle with Wisconsin. And this is largely because Wisconsin appears to have shifted decisively left on their own state issues. Now, this is, of course, most likely because of the significant number of refugees who fled the state. But the success of the voter ID requirement reminds us that there is a distinction. There's a difference between national issues and state issues. So a national issue is something like voter ID, which support for which cuts across party lines and thus cuts across state politics. Nearly as many people in California want voter ID as do Texas. Blue state, red state is irrelevant. It's a pre-political issue, right? But then there are issues that are specific to the state that is voting. And unfortunately, Wisconsin has repeatedly demonstrated itself of late to be a center-left state when it comes to its own state-specific issues, like abortion. So Crawford, the Democrat, she was actually trailing originally in the polls before she made the election about protecting abortion. That's what galvanized the vote in 2023 when the Democrat beat the Republican by 11 points. So at least when it comes to these off-year elections, Wisconsin voters repeatedly appear to favor center-left issues. At least that, again, that's been the pattern of late. Definitely since 2020. This is not, it's another way of putting it is, politics are dynamic. They're not stagnant. And this is not Scott Walker's Wisconsin anymore. So Wisconsin, at least at the state level, when it comes to state issues, looks like they're pretty much in bed with the left. And this is largely because so many Republicans have left Wisconsin during or immediately after COVID. Now, that said, the Wisconsin GOP, like the Pennsylvania GOP, is going to have to get their act together when it comes to a get-out-the-vote effort. Scott Pressler is amazing, and he was amazing, as he always is. But one person cannot be relied on to win an entire state. Obviously, Scott has said that much. The state Republican apparatus has to construct a get-out-the-vote machine that overcomes the fact that the Republican Party is now the party of the low propensity voter, right? We talk about this a lot on this channel. We talked about it with Rich Barris yesterday. It used to be the Democrats, the working class Democrats, who blew off midterm and special elections. Well, now guess what? Because of the populist political realignment, low prop voters are now our voters, which means that we have to construct a get-out-the-vote machine at the state level comparable to what the Democrats constructed in order to bolster that voter turnout. There's just no way around that. And until we do that, we're, at least when it comes to these scrimmage games, as it were, these off-year elections, special elections, we're gonna get frustrated. Again, not bad. I mean, 6 out of 9, not bad, but we want it 8 out of 9. We want it 9 out of 9. We're all about being the greatest team that the world has ever seen. So I think that needs to be our number one priority going into the midterms. And we're going to talk a lot about that, particularly with some of the key players like Cliff Maloney in constructing these machines and getting out the vote effort. So again, remember, we've got this. We've won 6 out of 9 special elections the last 90 days. We are the Super Bowl champs. We have amassed a coalition, the likes of which this nation has not seen in terms of its strength and its power and its numbers. We just enshrined voter ID in Wisconsin's state constitution, so it can never be removed. That's going to have ramifications way beyond just 2025. So we can do this. But that said, yesterday was a wake-up call. And let's make sure we're all doing our part to ensure that that call will indeed be answered. After all, we're the champs. Hey there, Turley Talker. You know what? I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm launching the Dr. Steve hotline, where you can call in, leave a question, and maybe even hear your own voice featured on an upcoming episode of the show. Whether it's about the latest political shakeup or cultural trends or how we keep pushing forward in this new conservative age, I want to know what's on your mind. Call me at 717-844-5984. Just leave your question. I'll be checking in every single week to answer as many as I can. Again, that's 717-844-5984. Your chance to be a part of the conversation. One more time, 717-844-5984. Give me a call and let's talk.